Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Evermore post-match reaction to just an utter mauling by Manchester City, it must be said. I'm Chris. Thanks so much for joining everybody tonight. I'm sure you'll all be licking your wounds after that because it was an absolute disaster. We're going to get stuck into this in a minute. Just a bit of housekeeping before we move forward. Thank you so much if you're tuning in tonight. If you haven't subscribed already, please do so. We're looking to smash that 300 subscriber mark. We're on about 261, I think. So we've had loads of new subscribers. So thank you so much, everybody, for joining. And if it's the first time tuning in, tune in, check us out. We do Evermore every Wednesday, loads of Newcastle talk. And normally it's very interesting to hear. But we're going to get stuck into the match straight away. We're going to have a look at the lineup as well. So there's a few changes in the lineup today, as we can see. Obviously, Jamal Lascelles came in for the recovering Fabian Schär. Sean Longstaff came into the midfield, which I think a lot of people did predict pre-match because he's got the legs. You know, I think John Joe Shelvey and Willock picked up a knock as well, and Shelvey's not got the legs for this kind of a game. Quite surprising Saint-Maximin kept his place. I thought he might have been dropped after the midweek games. And obviously, Chris Wood came back in from the start. But I suppose the big news for everybody was the return of arguably our two best players, really, Callum Wilson and Kieran Trippier on the bench. That was really, really good bit of news for Newcastle United to see the lads back on the bench. So just getting stuck into it, I mean, nobody give us a hope or a prayer really against this Manchester City side. You know, it's just, again, it's so nice that these fixtures don't really mean anything. I don't want to sound too derogatory. Obviously, every fixture means something. You want to win, you want to play well, you want to, you know, fight for the shirt and everything else. But the fact that we're not in the mire, we're not in the shit, and these results don't really matter in the grand scheme of things is unbelievable. Because if we'd still been in this relegation fight and had Liverpool and City and then Arsenal back to back, my God, we'd have been dead and buried. So again, you know, no matter what we say, no matter what I say in this video, you know, we're just thankful that we're not in the shit like we could have been. You know, we can kind of breathe a sigh of relief, really. You know, we're sitting in 13th still. Arguably, we'll probably finish 13th, 14th or something like that. And hopefully build next season and we can hang with these guys a bit more. But just getting into the game, obviously, we started all right, to be fair. You know, everyone was wondering what City were going to do, you know, whether they were going to have a hangover from the Real Madrid debacle in midweek in the Champions League, or whether Pep was going to get a reaction out of them. Bit of a daft question. You're talking about one of the best managers of the modern era. Of course, he was going to get a reaction out of them. You know, they played superbly well. You know, I just think they let us press on them, and I think we had 57% possession at one point. I think I was checking on Sky, and then they just came into the game. The goal came, the first goal, St. Max, again, you know, no matter what he does going forward, he's dreadful at tracking back. You know, I thought Matty Target, one of his worst games he's had in Newcastle shirt, but it's because he was completely isolated. So Maximin didn't really help him at all. And on the goal, it was so apparent. You know, the ball just dinks over. He totally switches off. Cancelo heads it across. And, you know, Sterling's there for 1-0. And it was coming, you know, I think they had a couple of attacks before that one. Cancelo ghosted in the back stick. And again, you know, Target's getting no cover. So Maximin's just not switched on. You know, Almiron runs around a lot, you know, but doesn't really have any end product. You know, he does track back a bit more than Saint-Maximin, you know, which isn't too bad. I think the only time I've seen Saint-Maximin track back recently was in comments in midweek, to be fair. But yeah, so obviously, the kind of the opening shot was given by City there, but they didn't totally press on and kind of destroy us, you know. And then obviously the second goal comes, and you know, Dubravka's been a bone of contention, I think, on a lot of the Evermore podcasts. Sometimes it's caused a bit of controversy. You know, I know obviously the Lynchman James has mentioned a few times he thinks he's got a rick in him. You know, Mark, being the keeper, was texting me absolutely flabbergasted at this. You know, no matter what you say about Dubravka, yes, he's a good shot stopper. You know, again, in the Liverpool game, could have been about 4-0 to them if he hadn't pulled off a couple of belters, you know, one-on-ones and flicking over the bar and stuff like that. He's very good, very agile at shot stopping, but he's dreadful at coming out and commanding. You know, when he puts a weak wrist on the ball, nowhere near enough on it. Man City bop it away, 2-0, game over, dead and buried, really. We're never coming back from that at all. You know, so we go in the first half, come out in the second half, you know, and again, I think I saw a stat. I think we had 1% possession or something in the second half. City just stepped up, and it was showtime. You know, they were messing around, they were playing around with the ball. You know, Bruno was getting frustrated. He left one on Grealish, I think. Then the first half, Grealish rolled about 19 foot trying to get a free kick. And we just looked worlds apart from this City side. I must admit, I didn't think it was going to be a 5-0 game, though. Obviously, the game pushes on. You know, they get the third goal, and then the third goal comes from a corner. You know, I think it's Kraft switches off and Rodri ghosts in, but that's Rodri's run. You know, he does that all the time. Eddie Howe will be foaming at that. He's the kind of manager that drills this into the players every single day in training, I'm sure, in the lead up to the game. And Kraft just switches off and Rodri goes in, scores the header. And then the fourth and the fifth just come in a blink of an eye, really. I mean, City can do that to teams. You know, they're 3-0 up and you think, oh, fair enough, get beat by Man City 3-0. It's a bit shit, but, you know, it's a kind of thing that you can accept. But then they're just the fourth and the fifth just come like blink, blink. And then all of a sudden you're 5-0 down. You think, what the fuck happened there? But that's what these great sides do to you, to be fair. And it's a really, really frustrating day at the office for us. Absolutely. We're live tonight, guys. Please jump in the comments. Let us know what you think about the game. Mark's in 1% possession and 0 successful passes in the first 10 minutes of the second half. That was the stat I was thinking about, Mark. Thanks for that, mate. But yeah, I mean, that's just awful, really, isn't it? For top level football, regardless of how good Manchester City are, that is a fucking terrible stat, to be honest. But, you know, looking at the game, I mean, obviously 5-0's a drubbing. It's an absolute doing over. You know, all the noise will be about Manchester City and the reaction to, you know, getting dumped out of the Champions League and everything else. Pep would have wanted that. Obviously, he's loving that. He's over the moon with that. You know, Liverpool will be livid. Jurgen Klopp will be livid that we didn't put up more of a fight. But, you know, fuck him. He's got nothing to moan about with Tottenham Hotspur. Doesn't need to moan about us. But I think just looking at the game, I mean, the only bright spot really for me in the game, in all fairness, was seeing Callum Wilson and Kieran Trippier come off the bench. Fantastic to see them. You know, they've obviously worked their asses off to get themselves back, you know, before the end of the season. It's absolutely brilliant. I know some fans were a bit worried about them playing. What if they get a knock and this and that? But I think just a couple of little outings towards the back end of the season to just get that taste of being back in the squad. And, you know, if Wilson can get himself a goal, and he tried when he come on, you know, he looked busy, he looked lively. He ran more in about 3 seconds, I think Chris Wood did in the whole first half. You know, if Callum can get back and stay fit, he definitely leads the line. There's no doubt about that. You know, even for the last 2 games of the season, you know, Callum's in from the start and, you know, and Wood's riding the bench, to be fair. But obviously you don't want him to break down. Hopefully, you know, his body can last a couple of games. And obviously with the likes of Kieran Trippier, you know, Kraft's done quite well, to be fair. And even today, I thought Kraft wasn't too bad. I mean, he had a real hard time of it, you know, kind of up against Grealish, as did Mike Target on the other side against Sterling. And both of them were bang at it, to be fair. You know, Grealish is a funny one. He polarizes opinions of Manchester City fans. I know he's been getting a bit of stick in the media about whether he's good enough to play for City or whatever it is, but he's still a very talented footballer. If you ask me who I'd rather have over, you know, Saint-Maximin or Grealish, both firing, ready to go, I'd choose Grealish every time because, you know, he knows when to release the ball. You know, he knows when to kind of hold it, when to, you know, stick his shoulder out, when to drop and everything else. You know, and I think a player like that is, you know, would be unbelievable on our side. You know, we're going to talk about Saint-Maximin a lot more on Wednesday and ever more. So tune in, guys, at 6:30. I've got plenty to say about that bloke because I've kind of reached the enemy teller with him, to be honest with you. Larry's in the comments. How you doing, Larry? Flat performance today, unfortunately. You're totally right, Larry. It was really flat. You know, like I said, it didn't feel like a 5-0 game to me. It just kind of came out of nowhere. It was like a boxing match, really, wasn't it? It was like old left and right, good night. And you thought, where the hell did they come from? But yeah, when you're playing teams like that and when they're at it like that, you just, you know, you give one little mistake, you know, and another goes in, another one and another one and another one. I think that's basically what happened today. We just were nowhere near that team. You know, all these other people are saying, I think Stu's saying in the comments there as well, you know, this is a reminder that Howe has to be ruthless and improve this squad as quick as possible. 100%. I think this is a massive reminder as to how far away we are from these kind of teams. We know this. You know, the media are saying reality checks, everything else. We don't need a reality check. We know we can't hang with a City side like that, that's up for that. I mean, you look at Kevin De Bruyne today. He was sensational. The best centre midfielder on the planet. No doubt at all. No doubt whatsoever. He's unbelievable. Thanks for joining Ugly Bear, Manchester United fan. I'm looking Newcastle. I bet you were rooting for us, mate. Yeah, sorry we couldn't do you a favour there, mate. Larry's saying, hey, doing okay. Great to catch a show live. Hope you're well. I am, mate. I am well. Yeah, a bit disappointed with the result, Larry, as always, buddy. But, you know, again, when you play a team like that, you don't really expect to win. It sounds really defeatist, but I think unless you're elite, like Liverpool, you know, like Real Madrid, you know, arguably like Chelsea, when they get their act together, I don't think you really expect to get anything out of them games. What you want is a good performance from the lads. You don't want to capitulate. It's a real shame for the goal difference as well, you know, knocking that down. I thought defensively, you know, I'm doing the very first Evermore score player ratings for the website. So make sure you guys check it. You know, hopefully Mark will stick the link in the bio below. But if not, just go to our Twitter page at Evermore NUFC and you'll be able to see it on there coming up pretty soon. But yeah, I thought the defense they were just up against really world-class opposition today. Although Dan Burn did okay, started to lose his head a little bit in the second half, which worried me a little bit. I'm not sure why he lost his head like that, because Dan Burn's been superb since he come in, but people have been talking about, who's the captain for next season. A lot of people have made their mind up about Jamal Lascelles not being good enough. Me too, to be honest with you. He was kind of nout nor summit. As my mother-in-law would say today, he didn't do anything bad, didn't do anything good today. He was just kind of there. But he's not the club captain for me next season. He's not even in the 25 for me. Sell him. There's been rumours of Nottingham Forest interested in him. Yeah, get rid. My opinion, I think he's not at the level that we need to be at. Dan Burn is, and I think he needs to keep himself calm. And I think without Trippier calming him down a little bit when he come on, which again showed his captain qualities, he could have got himself in real trouble. So yeah, it's great to see Trippier back, and Trippier as a captain for me next season. Why don't Newcastle go get Mourinho, ugly bear? I don't think we have to break glass and get Jose yet, mate, to be fair. He's doing a good job at Roma. Everyone keeps linking Jose to us. Obviously, there's the Bobby links as well, in all fairness. And he's doing a cracking job at Roma. I like Jose. To be honest with you, ugly bear, as a Manchester United fan, I don't think Jose did that bad for you guys. I think he was run out of town by a toxic dressing room, but jump on the Armchair Reds lads and have a chat with them, mate. Listen to them on Spotify, drop on their Twitter as well, and they'll probably back that up, I'm pretty sure as well. But yeah, it was a disappointing result all around, really, and I think it just shows you the lack of quality in the squad. Because you're looking at players like Saint-Maximin, you're looking at Bruno, and Bruno did quite well. I thought he showed for the ball. He wasn't scared of the midfield, but when De Bruyne is dominating the midfield like that, he's unplayable. We didn't have a player to sit on De Bruyne and stop him from dictating that game. Bruno has become an all-round midfielder for us. He's not a holding midfielder. He's attacking midfielder. He's winning the ball, but he's starting the plays. He's doing everything else. And I think because of that, he can't sit on a player like De Bruyne. In the summer, and we'll talk about this on Evermore, I'm sure as well. Certainly at the end of the season, we would do a full squad review. So make sure you tune in for that, guys. Again, like and subscribe. I think we need a proper defensive midfielder in games like this that can sit on De Bruyne, players like that. I know it's hard. It's easier said than done because he's brilliant. But, you need to try and sit on those creative players to stop them dictating the pace, or they will just rip you to pieces. That's a really good comment, Jeff. Was Longstaff on the pitch? I put this in my player ratings as well, mate. So definitely check this out. I'm a massive fan of Sean Longstaff, local lad. They're a cracking family as well. They don't live the parents don't live a million miles away from me. They're a really nice family. And I really want Sean to do well. I really do. I want him to be, a fulcrum of this Newcastle side. But when you see games like that, he's just light years away from that level. He cannot hang in a big game like that. He's got energy and everything else, and he runs around. But De Bruyne was just blasting by him. Gundogan was just blasting by him. He was nowhere near them. And at one point, I actually had to check whether he was still on the pitch because I didn't even think he was playing. So again, as polarizing as Shelby can be, at least when he's in a game like that, Shelby stands up, puts his chest out and says, give me the ball, and Shelby's playing, don't you? Generally because he's made a late tackle or something, but at least he's playing. Larry's saying I'm optimistic for Maxi, although I believe the criticism of his performance has been fair. First thing I want to see him implement in his game is a few more 1-2s and bring his teammates in. That's a good shout, Larry. I mean, I think the problem is with Saint-Maximin is he wants to just beat as many men as he possibly can, but he does have a bit of a point. I thought about this a little bit more. I'm going to have my say on him on Wednesday and Evermore, but for me, he's got a point. When he gets the ball and he goes, nobody seems to make that move around him. So he is generally on his own. Yes, he's very fast. Almiron's probably equally as fast on the other side, but he doesn't cut inside, doesn't make himself available. But then sometimes when players do that, even when Wilson's fit and he does that, Maxi wants to go over and take on a guy 2 or 3 more times. And it's really frustrating. I've kind of had my fill with Saint-Maximin. I think, especially when you're playing big games like this, I don't think you can play him. I think you can play him against your Burnleys, your Watfords, your Palaces, your Leeds, but when you're playing in a game like that, where you haven't got anywhere near the quality on the pitch and you have to be well drilled and structured and disciplined, Saint-Maximin's not in my team at all. I know people are saying he'll give you the break and the X factor and everything else. He's not disciplined enough. He might get you a goal, but you lose 5-1. Whereas if you don't play someone like Saint-Maximin, you might get a 1-1 draw. That's my opinion on it anyway. So other comment there from my mate Steve Corby. How you doing, Steve? Thanks for tuning in, buddy. Thankfully, it wasn't essential to get the points yet. That's what I said at the start, mate, as well. Absolutely. We just need to slog it out till the end of the season, then regroup and add a few more players. 100% right, Steve. There is still this talking amongst the fan base, a lot of nostalgia about, keeping these lads on. I mean, Paul Dummett signing a new contract was quite polarizing by the fan base. I thought, people are saying, oh yeah, it's great to have him around the squad because he's a local lad and all this stuff and everything. Of course he is. There's no doubt about, Dummy bleeds black and white. He's been raised there since he was a kid, but he's always injured. He's never available. Is he really going to bring something to that squad? We've got big characters like Dan Burn and Trippier who are going to be in the starting 11. It just makes you wonder whether, signing Dummy is actually going to do anything. Yes, cup games and that potentially, I suppose. But, we need to not be sentimental with these players. We need better quality. You look at a game like that. Yes, you're not going to, beat Man City 4-0 at the Etihad, do you know what I mean? But you want to be able to hang with them a bit better, and we just have not got those players. Do what Spurs did, go out and get players like Son, from the Bundesliga, and players like that who can come in and perform on that stage against a team like that. The players that we've had for years and years that haven't been good enough still aren't good enough, and they'll never be good enough. So there's no point being sentimental and giving them new contracts just because they happen to have grown up 20 mile away from the stadium or 10 mile away from the stadium. To me, that doesn't make any sense, but we'll cover that again, I'm sure, on Wednesday, guys, as we go. Ugly Bear says we should go and get Juan Mata and Jesse Lingard. Yeah, maybe Tabith Chong if he doesn't stay at mine. I'm not sure about Chong, man. I don't know much about him. I don't know is that the lad with the big afro who nails people all the time? Might be. But Jesse Lingard is an interesting one. I think Jesse Lingard will come off. I think he'll want to come in Newcastle. I think he wanted to come in January. It was obviously blocked for obvious reasons to do with the Greenwood scenario, which Manchester United will never come out and say. But they only played him twice, so it's a bit of a shame. His brother's obviously putting a lot of social media posts on there, and he's not happy with the way Jesse's been treated. Jesse doesn't seem very happy either about the way he's been treated. So I don't think he's got a future at Manchester United. Ugly Bear, and I'd love to have him at Newcastle. I think in a game like that, he can give you that extra quality and that experience, that can maybe help you get something out of those games. Larry saying he agrees with me. It just isn't tactically sharp enough when it comes to the big matches. Absolutely, mate. He's not. I think I might be Sean Longstaff possibly talking about. I do feel a bit for Sean Longstaff and for Matty, because I think as footballers, they've got ability. I think Matty has the highest ceiling. I know Mark has said that numerous times. I'm probably quoting him verbatim there, but I think these lads have not been coached very well, obviously through the Steve Bruce debacle is what we'll probably call it, and the Mike Ashley regime not taking these young players seriously enough that you could have superstars on your hand, and you've got to coach them. I mean, look how Matty's got 6 goals now, I think, on loan at Mansfield, and Elliot Anderson's just got Bristol Rovers promoted and been superb. So these lads again, they need to be developed, because they could add something to the squad. You bring them in. Like Elliot Anderson in particular could add something massive. I mean, Miggy today, he runs and he runs and he runs, but he's got no end product whatsoever. Saint-Maximin frustrates you. If you've got young Elliot Anderson on the bench who's got pace, who's brave, who's willing just to commit players, why not give that a chance? Do you know what I mean? If he comes back in pre-season and shows he can do it, then why not give that a chance? Obviously we're probably going to be looking to upgrade on those players in the transfer market, but if the lad can hang, save yourself a few quid, get him in, you got a local lad in your hand, ticks 2 boxes, you want people with quality. So what's Larry saying? I reckon Alan Saint-Maximin could do a better job for us playing on the right. He's much more direct in that position. I recall the West Ham game. It's funny with Saint-Maximin, Larry, I'm going to cover this on Wednesday too with the boys. Probably cover the whole Saint-Maximin section here, mate. But, when was the last time you really saw him have a brilliant game? That's what you got to ask yourself. Everybody keeps saying he's our talisman, he's our superstar, he's the guy that wins the games. So when was the last time you remember? Ask yourself that question. When was the last time Saint-Maximin looked good? For me, it was the Everton game. I can't remember the last time he did something other than that to go, oh yeah, he was fantastic. He was superb. You know what I mean? For me, he's talking about Ballon d'Ors. He's talking about, Mane. He is fucking light years away from Ballon d'Ors and Mane's. He's got no hope of getting there if he doesn't learn to get his head up, cross the ball, or make the right decision. 100%, mate. So Ugly Bear is saying, Tong is the big Afro lad on load. I thought he was, mate. I thought he was. Jeff is saying, talk of Anderson in the last 2 games. I'd love to see that, mate, to be honest with you. I think Arsenal at home under the lights. I think that'll be fantastic for the lad to get a run out. He played really well against him in the cup, as far as I remember. And then Burnley, I think he'd do a great job there. Sorry to keep bringing up Maxi, says Larry. We'll change the topic. No problem, mate. No problem. I don't mind about talking about Maxi. He's very topical at the moment, mate. Maxi to Everton, is that Jeff saying? That could be a bit of a rumour there, absolutely. So we've got Maxi turn Rice inside out on the right-hand side against West Ham. He did. But I don't remember seeing him do that very often, to be brutally honest with you, this season. João Cancelo is terrifying, Stu. There's no question about that. He is a superb footballer, as are a lot of those those Manchester City players. That's the level that we kind of want to get to anyway. Do you know what I mean? That we are so far away from it. So were Manchester City when they first got bought, and look at them now. It's all about the right investment. It's all about the right time and getting the right players in. And hopefully we'll look to do that. Let's talk about strengthening the back line, having a bit more pace in there. We do lack pace at the back. Burns, I think Burns' positional sense, his strength, his heading ability is great. But I think Mark said to me in the comments he does lose flight of the ball quite a lot, and I think he's been caught out on a few goals for that. Lascelles ain't good enough. Cher is very good at bringing the ball out, but he is a little bit fragile. He is getting a little bit old. We need to strengthen there, but certainly in the attacking three positions. Great to see Wilson back. I hope he's fit, for the whole season next season, but you can't rely on that. You've got to go out in the summer, and I'm sure that we are going to do that as well. Cancelo is the best fullback in the league. I would argue he's the best fullback in the world, Mark, to be brutally honest with you. I think he's absolutely superb. I know you probably think Matty Cash is, mate, but I'm sure Cancelo's a little bit better than him, to be fair. But no, it was a tough day at the office, guys. 5-0, like I say, it didn't feel like a 5-0 game, but in games like that, they just, them goals just come lickety split, and you've just got to try and stay in the game and not drop your concentration levels to get a humping like that. And obviously we did, which was a real shame. But listen, we're not in the relegation fight. It was a bit of a free hit. We took a bloody nose today. Bit of a reality check, 100% in terms of just how good they are to how much we need to improve. I'm sure Eddie Howe, being Eddie Howe, has learned a lot from those games. So for me, it's not the end of the world. We'll roll on Arsenal under the lights, last home game at St James's Park, and hopefully, the lads can go out with a bang. So Jeff's saying, think keeping some of the squad is a good move if it means spending more on 4 or 5 quality players. Yeah, that is a good point, Jeff, to be fair, but I just don't see where Dummett fits in. I don't think he's properly played for Christ nearly a whole year, probably, if you look at the games that he's missed. So Larry's saying, do you think Callum Wilson will be our star striker? Our best striker? I don't think he will. I think we'll go big on a striker. I think that's the key target. We talked about that on Evermore as well, Larry, the last few weeks. I'm sure we'll keep talking about it over the summer as well. Striker is definitely a position that we need to strengthen, in my opinion, and I think we will. I think hopefully we'll be identifying targets. If we can make a similar type of a signing, that we did at Trippier, like we did with Bruno, where you're talking about, one of the best in class in that position. That's what we need. We need somebody who can stay fit. We need somebody who can play consecutively 10, 15, 20 games without getting injured. Of course, they'll get injured at some point, I'm pretty sure, because all footballers do. Very seldom do they not. But we need a player that can play those games. I mean, some of the names have been thrown out there, likes of, Nunez and, Ekitike and guys like this. And Patrick Schick was one that we threw out on Wednesday. James covered him really well, and he's the complete striker for me. 26 years old, goal machine. Remember him from the Euros. Can do it all. I think Patrick Schick would be superb for us, and I think he can actually play up front quite well with a Wilson. It's in the front too, which would be great. Yeah, Wilson off the bench, as Jeff saying, 100%, Jeff. But if you've got the likes of Schick and Wilson challenging each other for positions, then that's what you want. You want a bit of squad depth there as well. Ugly Bear saying, sorry, but Pookie is better than Callum Wilson. Oh, God. Pookie, Jesus Christ. I think he'd blow his arse out running for the bus, Pookie Ugly Bear. He's a good finisher, but he's got no legs whatsoever, mate. I think Pookie will be back in the Championship with Norwich, I think, mate. I think if Pookie was any good, he would have been bought by somebody else. Somebody like Brighton would have bought Pookie because they needed goals. But, yeah, I just don't think he's got the legs, Ugly Bear, to keep up with the Premier League, to be fair, mate. Wilson, if you look at Wilson's goals per game record, I think it gets lost in the fact that he's always knackered. But his goals per game ratio is actually up there with Cristiano Ronaldo's for Manchester United, Ugly Bear, before he got knackered. So he is an unbelievable goal scorer, but he's just never fit, mate. So that's the big issue for us. I think we do obviously need to go out and invest in a centre forward, which 100% we will do. But listen, lads, I'm going to wrap up anyway. So thank you so much, everybody, for joining the comments. I think I've got one more comment there from Larry saying Pookie's about as good as his name sounds. That's a fair shout, Larry. That's a fair shout. But yeah, I'm just going to wrap up, lads. So thank you so much for tuning in, everybody. We always appreciate the comments. It's always fantastic. It helps the channel grow. And we love having a chat with you. And I love having a chat with you guys after post matches as well. As I mentioned at the start, if you haven't already, please click subscribe, even like and subscribe, get my teeth right. You're welcome to smash that 300 subscriber mark. I think we're about 261 now. So, anything you guys can come in and help out, be absolutely superb. We've had loads of growth recently. We're really enjoying it. We love doing the shows, love doing Evermore. We absolutely love doing the post-match reviews, even if we get absolutely battered as well. As Mark said in the admin, thanks to everybody for getting involved. And cheers to you, Larry, as well. Take care. We'll be back with the lads with Evermore on Wednesday at 6:30. So make sure you tune in for that. And until then, let's keep supporting that team. We're quite united. Roll on Arsenal. And enjoy the rest of your weekend. Cheers, guys. Bye.